All right, so good evening once again, and welcome to what is like the final class. And we've actually touched a couple of things in the course of, let me call it the basic all the way to intermediate and advanced class. Plenty things we've covered. Working with rows and columns, entering data, we did copying, flash fill, formatting. Then we touched calculations, basic calculations, where we did some exercise. And remember, we did reference. Absolute reference we have used again, relative reference, which is default of a cell, and then we also talked about misreference, even though we really didn't use misreference. It's rarely used, but it's when you lock either the row or the column, one of the two. And if you remember, we also talked about direct reference. When you simply say this cell is equal to another cell, it can be across pages or it can be on the same page. A couple of things we've done find and replace, we've done sort and filter. Okay, yesterday we started with data validation, and then we didn't quite wrap up data validation. So we're going to start from there, just touch a couple of things in data validation, and then we are going to move on to text to column, which is one of the sheets I added to this. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, okay, yes. What didn't we deal with? Okay, sorry, it wasn't data validation. We stopped at test and data cleaning functions yesterday. That's where we stopped. Yes, not data validation. Forgive me. Let me open my worksheet. Test and data cleaning functions. Yes, that's where we stopped yesterday. Yes. Okay, so we have done our lower, upper, and proper left, right, and mid. So we're on test length. So I'm going to share my screen now so that we can take off from where we stopped yesterday. So let me share my screen. Test and data cleaning function. Okay, let me know when you see my screen. Okay, is my screen up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I'm going to pause my video now. Okay, now what I said about test and data cleaning yesterday, I just want to repeat it. When you collect data from most sources, whether it's entered manually or you source them from a website or from a database, very likely your data is going to come with formats and characters you necessarily don't want. Like seeing data, if you tell people to write their name, you are sure some will type in small letters, some will type in capital letters, some will type missing small letter and capital letters. But if you want to do a presentation, you must present it in a uniform format, either proper case, lowercase, or title case, depending on what you are doing. And to remove all of those inconsistencies in your data, whether in date or in text or in numbers, or even in formatting, you need to do test and data cleaning. So all of these things we are learning, whether the mid, the proper, the lower, all of them are for data cleaning, and also some test functions that help you do calculations later. So we've done lower, proper very well yesterday, so I'm not going to go back there. Now, we want to just play with a few other things. The length function is simply typed as equals to LEN, and it tells you the length of the text in a cell. So if you are typing, just as our custom is to type a function, we type equals to, and then just put len. That's the way to write the length function. Once you type it in, it only has one argument, which is what is the text where you need. So once you enter the text, you can press your tab, and it tells you that this text has a length of 20 characters. It has a length of 20 characters. Now you can, just like every other formula we have used, you can copy this down. You don't need to write a function for the rest of them. So I'm sure this is working. Is this straight? Is this simple?
Yes.
Is your length function working?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, is this straight? Is this simple? And now the question is, oh, what do we use something like this for? Sometimes you want to say insert a comma inside, or you want to copy some text to a place, and you want to determine, let me take, for example, you are using the left function or you're using the mid function, or you want to determine what's the length of text in that cell so that you can decide where to cut or how many to cut. You can use the length function to determine the length of text in a cell, and then you know what to do. Or on the other hand, if somebody writes a very lengthy article for you in a cell and you want to check how many characters are here. You know, like in Microsoft Word, at the bottom of your page, you see number of characters, right? Number of words, number of characters. Excel doesn't have it. So you can use the length function to just check if you have a long text in Excel. So it's that simple. It gives you the number of characters. And if you need this number anywhere else, you can't just copy it because your length function will come along and your result will be blank. So if you need to copy this result that has a formula to another place, what do you do? How do you copy this result to a place so that it doesn't go with the formula? We learned it yesterday. I'm reminding you.
Yes, yes. We copy. We'll copy the row. After copying the row, we paste it at any column there. Then it gives us. We can now go to where we have our clipboard. We click on paste. Now we click on paste, then we'll see the different kind of paste options.
Fantastic. So, and then which of them are we
values,
using to do?
We use paste values.
Okay, so that's, I just reminded us of something we learned yesterday. Okay, now the next option we have here is called the trim function. Trim function helps you to remove multiple blank spaces in any set of data. Multiple blank spaces. Now, let me tell you the way Excel views data. If you write John Smith, which is the first name on our list, on the page of the trim function, which is the next sheet, if you write John Smith and you write with only one blank space, and you write another John Smith with 5 or 3 blank spaces, Excel sees them differently. Because even those empty spaces, Excel sees 2 of them differently. So if you are looking, oh, is there a second John Smith? You won't find it. Now, when you are analyzing data, you will not find that your results will be incorrect because one John Smith has one space, which is the tab of the keyboard. Another one has so many spaces. So to do that, if you are cleaning your data, you are not sure that there are multiple empty spaces. You are not sure, or it looks as if there are multiple empty spaces. What you simply need to do is just write a trim function. Trim function will remove all the extra spaces. Now, what I want to use for that example is the name column. Now, to do that, first of all, I want to insert an empty column, a blank column, after my name column. You remember yesterday, we use the same method. We insert, we do our cleanup, and then we delete what we need to delete. So I just inserted a column after my name column. It's a blank column. It doesn't have a title because I just inserted it. Are we there? Have you inserted a blank column? Okay, Zainab.
Yes, I have.
Okay, 1 minute. Zainab, welcome to class. Hello, Zainab. Let me know when you can hear me. Welcome. We are on the test and data cleaning function, and interestingly, we started yesterday. I don't know if you have had time to look at the video we put on the group today, but we are still continuing from where we started yesterday. So we're on the trim function. So,
good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine.
You were not in class yesterday.
Yes. Yesterday was Wednesday. So
okay. No,
yes,
don't
then
continue.
for today now, I'll be.
It'll be on and off. Have you had time to
briefly,
look
but I'll
at
join you soon again.
the video? I'm
Yes,
not sure.
I'm looking at it, but I haven't finished
Okay.
it.
Okay, no problem. So
Mm.
just catch how much you can. This video will be available by tomorrow morning. Okay, so we are writing the trim
Okay, no
function. And
problem. I'll join you guys soon again, please.
Okay, no problem. We're here. What does the trim function do? Like I said, it removes every excess space, whether even if it's before the test or in between tests. Normally, a test should have no space before it, and it should have only one blank space in between two words. So to write the trim function, all you simply need to do is equals to, once you type trim, it has only one argument. And
yes,
we put our function, and then we can copy it down and see what happens. Okay, now, I don't know if you have noticed the results. Let's do something. Let's do something. Insert another blank row. Let's do something.
okay.
Start the place where we wrote the trim function, right?
Mm-hmm.
Insert another blank row. Write the length function equals to length, right? LEN. Click on the name column and close it.
Okay, equals to.
Copy down.
Okay. The name.
You can see the
name. Yes.
Huh?
Okay. We should click. Should we copy all the names or just a particular name?
You are writing your function if you have on the first row of the column you inserted. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
This is the number one. Let me just put number one. One column I inserted. This is number
two.
So in my number two, I wrote the length function. What I want that to tell me is the length of characters inside these cells. And like I told you, even if you have a blank space, a cell will count it as one character.
Yes.
So your eyes won't see the blank spaces correctly, but a cell will see it, and you will say, oh, there's a character there. Even the blank space, a cell considered is a character. Parallelity is between tests or before a test. So for John Smith, for example, a cell is counting 19. Why? Count John Smith and see how many characters you actually see. John is 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Why is he counting 19? Let me tell you why. After Smith, somebody pressed tab multiple times. You see me, I'm pressing my tab again, Abi?
Yes, sir.
Look, John Smith is now telling me 25 characters. If you are analyzing this cell John Smith, it will give you a different result from another John Smith that has just the regular characters without these extra spaces. Your eye will not see these spaces, particularly if it's after the test. Now, let me tell you how it happens. You know, when you type, you press tab to space, right? John, you press tab to space. If you type Smith and press tab again, this blank space will enter and you won't see it. You won't know. So when you try to analyze the data, it can give you issues later. Maybe if we are doing pivot table, if you have that kind of problem, it's a problem for you. So now, my first character is telling me the length is 25. What is your own telling you? John Smith is how many
19.
characters? 19. Okay, because 19. You don't have these extra spaces. Now,
spaces, yes.
Okay, now insert another blank column. Insert another blank column. After my column number 2, right? So I now have column number 3. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
I want you to write the length function and write it for the result in column number 1. You know the result in column number 1, right?
Yes.
The result we got from the trim function.
Yes, sir.
All right, enter.
Done.
What's the result you are getting for this new length function?
I'm getting 10 for John Smith.
And you know that that's the correct answer?
Yes.
That shows you that your trim function has removed every excess space. Now look at Mike Tyson. If you actually look at Mike Tyson, you can tell that the space between Mike and Tyson is extended.
Yes.
That's not a single tab. Look at John Doe. That's a single spacing, right? But
Yes,
Mike Tyson has this expanded space. So there's some spaces there. That's why my first result tells me that Mike Tyson has 13 characters. But when I check my second result after the trimming,
that's
how many characters?
Mine has 10.
10 characters.
Or Mike
Sorry.
Tyson, yes.
Okay, length, that's if I enter, copy down. Okay, I don't have my result because I don't have characters here. Okay, fantastic. So Mike Tyson is 10 characters, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Because we have trimmed it with the trim function. Now,
Sure.
we are going to delete our column number 2 and column number 3 because we just use them to show us what we are doing, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
Let's delete those 2 columns. Select 2 of them together from the top, right click and just delete. They are gone. We're even coming to delete actually column E now, which is column number 1, but I don't want us to delete it yet. Now, you know we've corrected all of this spacing on all of these characters.
Yes,
I want you to move it back to the column of name. Can you do that? Click on John Smith.
Smith, okay.
Because we cannot have name and name a second time. That's too much. You don't remember what I said yesterday, right? You don't want to have excessive column. You don't want to have column unnecessarily. So if you click on John Smith, Control Shift down will select everything on that column.
Yes, sir.
Remember that?
Yes, I know that.
Control C we copy, and then we go back to the other John Smith and do Control V. Oh, what can you see?
Okay. Oh, it's giving me numbers.
Okay, you know why, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can you correct it?
Okay.
Can you correct it?
Okay.
We learned it yesterday. I asked, reminded you today.
Yes, because it's duplicating, it's taking just the cells. Okay.
No. You are copying a formula back to cell under name.
Yes.
So to eliminate the formula, what do we use? We paste values.
Paste values.
Yes. Oh. Remember that, right? Always have that at the back of your mind. You know, when I taught it yesterday, I said I must teach it because it's very useful. Once you start copying results up and down, you face this challenge again and again. Now, what some people who don't know how to paste values do, they create more and more columns. And the more columns, unnecessary columns your data set has, the more clumsy it looks. Imagine I have name and I have name again. What is the meaning? So once you paste, you can actually go to your paste options and put paste values, or go straight to your paste shortcut, click on it and do paste values. So have you corrected that?
Yes, I'm trying to, okay, I'm correcting it.
Has it worked?
Okay, no, it hasn't worked. It's just, it's it's showing me, it's bringing out the drop down.
Okay, I think you need to undo.
Okay,
right?
Yes, I've done that.
Undo until you have your column D and column E, which is the name that has the spaces and the names we have trimmed. You have the two of them. Okay, so go to the names we have trimmed. Click on John Smith, Control Shift down.
Done. You
copy everything, Control C. Click on John Smith on the original column that has name. Now, two ways. You can paste and use paste option at the bottom, or you can go to your shortcut, click on paste, and select paste option, paste values as your option. Any of them takes you to the same place. Which of them are you using?
I went to use paste value.
Okay, from your shortcut straight.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it drops your name. Now, note that this name is not what was there before. What was there before had spaces here and there that we couldn't see.
Yes.
But we have trimmed it and we brought it back. So we cannot, because we use paste values, it's not separated from the formula that created it. So we cannot select column E and delete it. So that we only have one column for name, not two, not three, it's not because we did a correction, we now have multiple columns. Are we okay with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so fantastic. So next one is to eliminate blanks. If you have blanks in your worksheet, it can give you issues when you are, what do they call it now? When you are doing any of your analysis. Now let's do something, for example. Go to row 10, right?
Okay.
Right click and insert a row. Something is going to happen there. Have you inserted a row in row 10?
Okay, row 10?
Yes.
Okay.
So that Peter Parker and Mary Jane are separated. So that, let me see where your separation is happening.
Yes, they have been separated.
Okay, so there's a space in between them. Now
Yes,
click on, let's say we want to select the names. Control Shift down. What does it do? How much does it select?
From our blank space?
No, on the name.
Okay, on the name.
The name column. You know, Control Shift down is supposed to select everything.
Yes,
so Control Shift down does what?
It just only selected from John Smith to Peter Parker.
Now, to continue your selection, you hold your Control Shift, you cross the blank space, and then you can go Control Shift. You still hold your Control Shift, you go down to the bottom. Now, if you have this kind of multiple blank spaces in one set of data, you know it will be giving you headache, right? Instead of doing one Control Shift down to select everything, you have to do it again and again. And if you try to do analysis like sort, filter, when you click on the data on top and do your sort, it will only analyze the data on top. You see this blank cell? It's like a wall. It separates one set of data from another set, except we not just jump, except you now manually select all of them. And that's some time wasting. So if you have sets of data like this, you want to remove the blank cells, all of them. So let's go to find and select. Let's do something there. Let's see special option. Can you see find and select?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go to. If you scroll down, there's find, there's replace, there's go to. Click on go to special.
Oh, go to special. Okay.
Yes.
Done.
Look at the options, and these are all different kind of options. We are looking for one, but just look at whatever conditional format. Now, this you click conditional format, it shows you all the cells that you have formatted with conditional formatting, right? It selects them.
Yes,
data validation, all the cell with data validation. Now, but what we are looking for here, comment, constants, formulas, what we're actually looking for here is the blanks. Tell let's say blanks, and then click OK.
Oh, okay.
Can you notice that it selected all the blanks in the space where it said the site is our worksheet? And somehow it's not very correct. Excel is not very correct. Because you see this, what they call it now? This, what do I call it? Comments I type for this on the side, they are not really part of my worksheet. So Excel is doing more than it should do. So I'm going to click outside and select my set of cell, because that's not part of the worksheet. And when I tell it, say, go to special again, I say select all the blanks. It will now select the blanks within my worksheet. You notice I selected all the blanks.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so now let's click out. Let's do something. I need you to insert 2 more blank cells, 2 more blank rows, so that we'll remove those blank rows, then we'll remove blank cells.
Okay, I should insert another blank row.
Yeah, just insert 2 more blank rows so that we can remove all of them together. Then we will do something about the blank cells.
Okay, anywhere. Okay, I'm done inserting.
Okay, so now go to our row numbers, where you click the entire row from. Click on your row 10, which is the first cell that is blank for me, first row that is blank. Hold your control, click on 18, which is the second row that is blank. Then scroll down with your, now this time with your scroll bar. Are you using the mouse?
No, I'm using my
Okay,
pad.
but you
The
can find a
touchpad.
way of scrolling. You can use the, okay, touchpad, fine. You can scroll down. So I've selected, by holding my control button, I've been able to select 3 blank rows. Have you selected them?
Oh, mine is just 2 blank rows.
Okay, no problem. Now after selecting, right click and delete. So our complete blank rows have disappeared. But then we still have some blank spaces inside this data, and that's what I want us to fill in. Now we can decide what we want to use to fill those blank spaces. So let's select the entire data set again. Now your blank rows have disappeared, right?
Yes, sir.
Go to back to our find and select, go to special, select blanks. Now, I don't want these cells to be blank. It's not good for my analysis that the cells are blank. So I want to write something in those blank cells. Have you selected all the blanks?
I selected all our data. You said we should select all the data.
All the data. Move to find and select.
Find and select. Okay. Then yes.
Go to special, select blanks.
Okay.
And click OK.
Okay. Done.
All the blank rows in the worksheet have been selected. Now,
yes,
because blank rows and rows or blank cells are not good for my analysis, I'd like to replace anywhere that is blank with something. Now, for example, my region. Some people did not fill in their region, right? Now, I want to replace it with NA.
Not available.
NA for me is short for not available. Well, I can actually type not available. You understand what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Have you typed your NA?
Yes, I have.
Okay, now press, if you notice, your NA was typed into only one cell.
Yes.
You can see that. So press
Yes,
Control and Enter. Tell me what happens.
Oh, it has filled the other blank cells.
So if you have, let's take for example now, if you have 1,000 rows of data, and some people did not fill their region, and if you're analyzing the data, those blank spaces will give you problems, right? So you want to indicate that it is not available. You cannot manually go through your entire worksheet to check, who is that person? Peter Parker did not write his state of origin. You know that kind of problem, right?
Yes, sir.
Most times when you tell people to fill a form, except you do this situation where you insist that this, you know the way it is on Google Form, this row is compulsory. Some people will fill half of the form and leave the other half. It happens very often. So you find somebody didn't fill the region. So you can't go through row by row, filling all the regions. So you can, for example, just select the whole region, go to special, select all the blanks in region, and put not available, so that when you're analyzing this data, at the end of your analysis, you can say 7 people, their region was not available. Instead of leaving it blank, which means nothing, which will disturb your analysis, you can say that the region was not available. You can do it as not available. Is that okay? Now,
yes, okay.
When we did our test, we selected the whole data set, but when you're actually working, you likely will not need to do this for the whole data set because you don't want to put not available everywhere. For example, all of the region, you can put not available, but when it comes to something like price, you can decide to put not available, but quantity, you can put 0 in all the blank spaces. It's like we don't have this product in store, so somebody did not fill anything, but it's not still good for Excel when it's analyzing. So if you want to put, if the product is finished in the store, it's not available, you can't put not available in a place where you have number. It will give you a challenge when you are analyzing or you are adding up or you are multiplying. You know what I mean, right? For example, you cannot multiply not available with 20. So, but you can multiply not available 0 with 20, and it will give you 0.
20.
Yes, so which is mathematically correct, but you can't multiply a test with a number. So in that case, you can go to your region, replace it with not available or not indicated. But when it comes to number, it's better you replace all the blanks with 0. So you can deal with them column by column. And all of this data cleaning is to help your data to bring it to a point where it becomes clean enough for you to analyze. For example, you want to do a chart. For example, you want to do a pivot table, which is what we'll do today. So let me quickly touch the last thing so that we can jump away from here. This is useful, but not often used. People don't use this too much. Spell check. Most people think spell check is only in Microsoft Word, but Excel, spell check is not as fantastic as in Microsoft Word. You know what I mean? Fantastic, right? This is not a word processing program. So that's why you use a function to change from upper to lower. Same with spell check. It's not, you can't find spell check. It doesn't work as well as it works in Microsoft Word, but it is very helpful, particularly for regular tests, regular English, because this test is in English, but it won't help you when it comes to name of cities or name of people, except in situations where you have written the name repeatedly and one is off. Let's say you've been writing John. You've written John 3 times. Then the last time you write John, you write J-O-N-H. Excel will show you. Of course, it won't correct it. It will ask if you want to correct it because it's possible that's a different spelling of the same, it's a different word. You understand what I mean, right? I'll give you an example. Names like something like Peter. So is it Peter? No, not Peter. Yeah. Okay, yes, Peter. I know somebody whose name is Peter, a South African, but he spells it P-I-E-T-E-R. Peter for us is P-E-T-E-R, right? But his own P-I-E. Yes. So Excel may show you that as spelling error, but it's not really an error because with names, it's a different thing. Particularly if you now think of local names in Nigeria, Excel cannot catch it. So let's select this whole data, Control A, go to our review on our tab, and the very first option on our left is spelling. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Click on this data, Control A, select the entire data. When I click on review on the left, I see spelling. So, okay, now look, what is the first mistake you are seeing?
East.
And it's.
And east.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so you know that there's obviously something wrong here. So now you can tell Excel There's change it, Abi. There's change. You can also tell Excel to change all, though. You know what I mean? Change all, Abi. Everywhere this kind of mistake happen, change it, but
Change it.
change it, yes. If somebody spells east like this, change it. But now I like to go gently. I just said change. That error you have noticed, change. Now there's another error that it says noticing here. What's the next one?
Excellent.
There's something wrong with excellent, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's
It
one
spells
L.
correctly.
The one on the worksheet has one
Yes,
L.
one
And it's
L.
supposed to
Yes,
have
one
double
L.
L. So I'll
One
tell
L,
Excel,
yes. Double
change
L.
it. Now, okay, now look at these three things. Poor, poor, poor.
Poor and poor.
So the only one that, of course, the one we need as a way, suggestions, we know that is poor that we wanted to write because good, excellent, average. We know that the correct spelling is poor, but double O is an error. So we say change. And then look at this one. Tom DeFaco. Will you change that? This is just to buttress what I said. Will you change that, Tom DeFaco? Do you think we should change it?
I don't think so.
Okay, now let me tell you on what basis you should make that decision. This column is the column of names.
Names.
So this guy could be from Jamaica or from Afghanistan or from Enugu. So it's not in our place to tell him how to spell his name, except the name is, we know that this is the correct spelling. So Tom DeFaco, if that's his name, it's not for us to change it. You know what I mean, Abi?
Yes, sir.
Only thing I can notice here that I want to, that will make me agree to this change is that this was spelled, the F is spelled in capital letter. Excel is telling me it should be lowercase. And for that reason, I might tell Excel, okay, change it. But if I don't want to change it, if it is the way this name is spelled, all I need to do is to say ignore. Excel will ignore. The other name, I don't want to change it, ignore. So all this thing, I cannot tell Excel ignore all. Anything I think is not as a way, it's not a problem, I can say ignore. Now, I've gone forward, I'm seeing wordy. WROTTY. Have you skipped that far?
Yes, sir.
WROTTY. That's wordy.
Yes.
Now, it's supposed to be the correct spelling of wordy, but this is wrong. So I can say change, spell check complete. You are good to go. Basically, this is spell check for you. Of course, if you are preparing a worksheet for somebody, you would like your worksheet to be presentable, not having all kinds of spelling errors that you cannot explain. So that's a small spell check inside Excel to help you with spelling errors. So I'm going to move on to the next sheet, which is a very simple one, something we'll do quickly. I'm stop share so that I can share the next sheet. Text to column. We'll run through this quickly, and if we'll move towards now, text to column and concatenate. Interesting thing about these two things is that there are other ways to do it in Excel. There are even newer ways to do it, but for older versions of Excel, they don't have those newer ways. Now, of course, this was the this was the normal way. Let me use that word. This is available in newer versions, and there are newer options. Now, concatenate and text to column. The first time my instructor then said concatenate, it sounded so big. I said, what kind of function is this? I don't know why it's such a big name, but concatenate simply means join two things together. The newer version of Excel actually doesn't call it concatenate. It calls it concat. So if you see concatenate, you open a newer version of Excel and you see concat, it basically means the same thing. So concatenate is used to join tests together. Now it can be test on two different columns, or it can be test in the worksheet and a different test entirely. So when we do examples, you will understand that. Then test to column helps you to split multiple strings of text inside one column, string them into multiple columns. So let's do some examples that will just clear the explanation. Concatenate joins text together, test to column, split text. So let's play with this worksheet that has name and surname, but we want the full name together. Are you on the concatenate worksheet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have John Smith. FlashFill can solve the same problem for newer versions of Excel, but if you are not using FlashFill, older versions had concatenate. I have John Smith, but for some reason, John is in one column, Smith is in another column, but I want two of them in one column. So there's this function called concatenate that simply joins two texts together. So I want you to write that function for us. At least I don't need to go over it too much. Concatenate. What? Have you written the concatenate function?
Yes, sir.
It's asking you two arguments, right?
Yes. Text 1 and text 2.
That's what you are joining. Join them and get into trouble. Then let's get you out of trouble. Oh, yeah, go ahead and join them.
Okay, done.
What happened?
You joined them together without spacing them.
That's the matter, right? John Smith. This is not how we normally write John Smith, right? So there's a problem. So let's correct the problem, and then we'll do the email. So if you look in your, click on the test you just concatenated, go to your formula bar. What do you see there? Concatenate C3 and D3, which is our test 1 and test 2. Okay, I need you to click on your fx, which is our function argument.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So you have your function argument dialog box now.
Yes.
I deliberately brought you here so that you don't forget function argument. Now, our test 1 is C3. We don't have any problem with that, right?
Yes.
For test 2, we need space. Test 1 is C3, that's result is John. Test 2, we need a space. How do we create a space in Excel? I've taught it before. Can you remember?
Yes, our double pivot. I mean, is it double comma?
Oh, you watch too much football. Are you a midfielder? Double pivot. Look at this man in my class. Okay, double inverted comma or double
inverted
comma. So
yes.
now, when you put the double inverted comma, when you put the first one, you must press your tab. You know what that tab creates, right?
Yes, sir.
An empty space, and then you close your second inverted comma. Have you done that?
Yes, I've done it.
Okay, so equals to, you can still see, you can see the space there. So what will our test 3 be now?
It will now be Smith.
Eh? So what's the cell reference?
D3.
All right, type in D3 into your test 3 and look at what the result is telling us.
Yes, it's John Smith that's giving it the gap.
With the space we wanted. So we can now click OK, and then our result says John Smith.
John Smith, yes.
So we can copy them down. And you can notice that everybody's name is coming out with that single space in between. Now, this is simple. This is concatenate. Okay, interestingly, what I did not mention, test to column actually reverses what we did in concatenate. It's a reverser, but it can do a lot more than just reverse. Now, let's create an email address for these workers. Forget this column that we just created. You have the name, you have the surname. Let's create an email address for them at excel.com, right?
Yes,
We can do it with concatenate. So let's write our equals to concatenate. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to type now. I don't want to go to my function argument box. So my first name is John, which is my row C3, cell C3, comma. Now the email address I want to create is john.smith@excel.com. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
john.smith@excel.com. So my test one is John, which is C3. I put comma. So how do I put my dot? Are double inverted commas coming again?
Yes, sir.
Because it's a test, you can't just type it in. So you bring your double inverted comma. Now, in this case, you don't leave a space. If you leave a space, it will show up in your email, and emails don't have spaces. It's either underscore or a dot or something, or a special character. So dot, I close my inverted comma. That is my test 2. Inverted comma, dot, inverted comma, close. No space, comma. What is my test 3?
Smith.
So that's cell what?
Cell D3.
D3. That's my test 3, comma. Now, what is my final test? What did I say? Where are we creating the email address?
At excel.com.
At excel.com. Okay, so can you write that?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Double inverted comma.
Yeah.
Close. Yeah. Double inverted comma. Excel. Double inverted comma.
Are you done?
Almost done.
All right. Enter if you finish.
Okay.
What did it do?
Oh, is a typographical listen. I typed my inverted comma twice.
Okay, so there's another problem we need to fix. We'll fix it with something we already know. So is it okay now?
Okay. Oh, okay. I know where the mistake is from. Okay.
What you are doing presently is what is called formula editing, right? You finish writing a formula and it has a challenge, you edit
I've done it.
Okay, so we have John Smith at excel.com. But there's a little problem here. Email addresses are usually lowercase, right?
Yes.
So this is uppercase. How do we correct that?
Case.
Yes, yeah, this sentence case, yes. How do we correct that?
I know we had the upper. Okay, we could use what we did yesterday. Can we do the upper and lower? Can we use the lower?
Fantastic. It's the lower function we are going to use. Yeah? Now, how do you want to do that?
Sure.
I am suspecting you want to go to a new column and write the lower function, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, it's not necessary.
Okay.
Now, something you need to keep at the back of your mind in Excel, you can combine multiple functions. I said that before, right? And they will all act. Now, click on your results that we've gotten, only that result, John j.smith@excel.com. Huh?
Yes, sir.
You know, I told you what we are doing is called formula editing. So you've written the formula, but you want to edit it. Now, equals to concatenate this, and this, right? After that, you're equal to, click, drop your cursor after equal to. Equals to, drop your cursor, write your proper function. Proper, and then open brackets. Sorry, not proper. Forgive me. What did you say we should use?
Lower.
Lower. Yeah, thank you. Open bracket. Have you done that?
Yes.
Now you notice that your whole concatenate function is now wrapped in a bracket.
Yes.
Lower, you open the bracket. Concatenate, open another bracket. At the end, how many brackets are closed?
Brackets.
How many
Two
brackets? Two? Have you closed the second
just
bracket?
one.
Just one. If you don't close the second one, there'll be a problem.
Just one.
Okay, so now close a second bracket. In Excel, if you are writing multiple functions, if you open 3 brackets, you must close the 3. If you open 10, you must close the 10. Are you okay? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
If you don't, Excel is telling me, I didn't close my bracket. We found a typo in your formula and try to correct it. So if the error is not very massive, you know what I mean, massive, Abi? Excel will try to help you correct the error. Like right now, I just forgot to close my last bracket. Excel says we found a typo in your formula and try to correct it to erode the formula and close the 2 brackets. Do you want to accept this correction? I think I want to accept it, right? Because I knew that was the right thing to do. So, and I say yes. Can you see the email?
Yes, I've seen it.
Without using an additional column. We've written the concatenate function. It gave us the email, but we realized that since the name was in capital letter, was in proper case, it's showing up in the email. We don't want it. So we just simply wrap it in the lower function, which is what we learned yesterday. So when we copy down, you see all the email address have shown up.
Yes, sir.
So if you need to create email address for everybody in an office, say the office has 100 people, the snail way of doing it is to say musaadamu@this.com, this and this at this.com, this and this at this.com. You know that slow way, Abi? And trust me,
sir.
if you keep typing it one by one, you will likely make a mistake. You know this at essay.com, at essay.com. Before you know it, you write at essay.co or you write as essay.cm. You will likely make a mistake when you type in 100 and you try trying to correct it. But when you do this kind of concatenation, you can combine set of tests together. Now, understand that it's not just text like this you can combine. No. We can actually combine text and number. You can combine text and special characters. It just, any character you can write into a cell, you can combine them with concatenate. Numbers, letters. So I'll leave you to play with that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's go to the next page, text to column.
Text to column. Okay.
Yes, that's the next page. Okay, now, what is the use? This example we are doing for text to column is not it's not a very complicated example. Let me tell you the most beautiful use of this text to column. Sometimes when your data comes in into a cell, it comes in as what we call CSV, comma separated values. When data is sourced from the internet, it does CSV, right? It doesn't come organized and clean, and it doesn't come split into columns. So when you copy your data from like WordPad, Notepad into Excel, they all come modeled up together. Now, to be able to analyze it, you need to split them into columns. Most times they are arranged in rows, but the columns are usually packed together. So you need to split them up into different columns. And that's where your test to columns becomes very useful. Now, when your data are coming from any source, it usually has special characters that split the data. There's no data that comes in that are not split up. Sometimes it's a space, sometimes it's a comma. That's why it's actually called comma separated value, CSV. It's a very useful file that we can bring into Excel. It's a very light file. When I mean light, you know the size of a file, megabyte, gigabyte. A CSV file is very light, so it's easy to copy up and down. So most files come in for analysis in CSV. So to split them into columns, that's where you use test to column. So it's quite straightforward. Select the data you want to split. On our data tab, you see test to column just before where we saw our data validation and remove duplicate yesterday. You see test to column. Let me know when you have clicked on test to column. I want to wrap this up in 6 minutes so that I can go to
yes, I'm at the dialog
test
box.
to column. Huh?
Yes,
okay,
I'm
in the dialog box.
I'm on dialog.
Okay, now
yes.
The first question is, does your data have a delimiter? Is it delimited? Now, what that delimiter means, is it split up? Is there a special character that splits your data? The truth is, if there is none, you will have a major challenge splitting the data. You have to use other options, which often doesn't work. So if it's delimited, okay, yes, we have some things that split the data up. So let's say yes, it's delimited. So we say next. Now, what are the delimiters? Can you see the delimiters? There's tab. You know your tab on the keyboard, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what gives us the space. But we don't have a tab here, but we have special character order. You see that at? It's a special character. So that's a delimiter. So in order, I can put my at there. Once you do that, you see that SS splits your data.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to do this a second time because I actually want to split this twice. No comma, no semicolon, no, none of those things are there. Okay, no problem. Okay, so we've split with our at so that the name is separated from. Now, when you do this, can you see a line between John Smith and data mastery?
Yes, sir.
That gives you an idea of where I say we split your data into columns. So, all right. Where do I want the data to be placed? Destination. Can you see destination?
Yes.
Click on that, select that destination. Click on your worksheet where you want the data to be placed. In my case, I want the data to go to column C. I don't want it to replace the old data. I still want that data. So column C, I click on column C and I say finish.
Column C.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now there's a problem somewhere. One of the names is not properly split. Why?
Yeah, D10.
Why? That's Bruce, right? Wow. Okay, can you see why Bruce was not properly split? Bruce has been split into 3. Can you see it? Row 9.
Yes.
Look at row 9. You can see why it was split.
Row 9. Yes.
Double,
yes.
right? Not
yes.
our fault.
Bruce dot was
At
separated.
appeared 2 times, right? Okay, we can't do anything about it. So because Excel is splitting with that special character, it split it twice, right? Okay, now I want to split John and Smith into 2. You remember when I told you that a test to column does the reverse of what concatenate can do, right? Concatenate will combine two tests together.
Yes,
Test
sir.
to column will split it. So let's select the
Yeah.
names that we already split up and go back to test to column. Now, delimited, yes. Next, special order, which is a special character, I put my full stop. Once you put the full stop, you see that Excel just draws a line. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so have you put your full stop in the order?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can see the line. So next,
Yes.
it's asking us, where do we want to drop this information? So
Sure.
destination, I don't want it to go to C2. I want it to go to, for me, column F, because I have space in F, right?
Yes, sir.
Then I finish. So now I have John Smith, Jane Doe, and everybody, each one in their separate column. So this is test to column. Now I need to close by saying, what we've used it to do doesn't look like, it's not a big deal. Like, no. When you bring data from like WordPad or Notepad or Access or from the internet, it comes modeled up and you cannot manually separate it. There's no two ways. 1,000 rows of data, you can't manually separate it. So you just use test to column and it helps you to arrange them in columns. And then it makes it possible and easy to analyze. So that's that for test to column and concatenate. Substitute, I'm not going to worry about substitute. Substitute is similar to find and replace. And I don't know if older version of Excel have substitutes. So the same work that find and replace does is what substitute does. So I'm not going to bother about it. So let me move on to, if you have it in your system, it's straightforward. So if you can do find and replace, you can do substitute. Let me move on to what I consider our main work for today. We are going to learn how to save Excel as a table, and then we are going to go straight into into pivot tables, which is actually our main work for today. So if we save Excel as table, then we'll move into pivot tables. So where is my worksheets? Okay, so you open what is that now? Format Excel as table. I shared the worksheet earlier.
Yes, sir. Format Excel as table.
Okay, I'm trying to open my worksheet. For interestingly, I didn't open my worksheet. Where is that? Okay, 1 minute. Okay, fantastic. You see, I usually pre-open my worksheet before class, but just okay. Okay, now benefits of formatting as table. Automatic sorting and filtering. Once you format as table, those your sort and filter buttons show up. It becomes a dynamic range. What does that mean? It means that when you add extra data to the table, you add an extra column, what we call a calculated column, or you add additional data to the table, Excel automatically adds every information in that data. It formats it the way the table is formatted, and every calculation done with that table, the new data you are adding is also used for the calculation. Now, let me tell you what that means. Imagine you have monthly data for Excel.
Sorry, sir. Your screen is not showing.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you for letting me know. You know, I just opened this sheet. Okay. Okay, I'm on the formatting the Excel as table before I jump into pivot tables. It's up now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I was on the formatting as table page. So I was saying that Excel becomes a dynamic range. I was saying, for example, if you have monthly data, when you take that data and create, for example, you format it as an Excel table, your January data formatted as a table. When you add February data to it, all the calculations and analysis you have done for January, you don't need to redo it for February. Excel will automatically add February to it. So if things like sum total, average if, sum if, count if, all of the calculations, even if you have done charts and pivot tables, Excel will automatically add the new data to it and calculate them together. You see that as we go. Okay, let's see.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Excuse me. I think you didn't send this particular table
Formatting
to
as table.
yes.
Or
you
I'm going
didn't.
to open my WhatsApp now and send it. Just
You
give me a
didn't.
minute. Okay. I wanted us to touch it before we go into
Pivot.
pivot, yes, because when we do pivot table, you must format your data set as a table. So I didn't want to teach pivot without teaching this. So that was why. So let me open our group. I thought I sent it later in the day. Let me see. What did I send? Coming. I'll send it now. Oh, okay. I didn't send it. I can see. I sent something else. Okay, formatting as table. I'm dropping it in the WhatsApp group. You can download it from there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go ahead and download. I'll continue the conversation while you let me know when you finish downloading. Okay, what else? Okay. It applies consistent formatting. When you add extra data, you don't need to format again. The format you've already created for the table, it just covers the extra data. Quick total row. Now, of course, better data management, easy styling. So I'm going to go to how to create a table. But before we do, we need to rearrange this data a little. Let me know when your sheet is open.
Okay, I'm trying to open it now.
Okay.
Okay, so it's open.
Okay, before we create a table with this data set, it looks quite sketchy to me. Hello? So Control A.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, Control A. I click anywhere inside the data set. Control A selects the entire data. I just want to increase the font size to 14, right?
Okay.
And then I go to my format, same thing we did yesterday, and say auto fit column width, so that my data looks a bit more organized already. Have you done that? Auto fit column width?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now date looks like numbers. That's not correct. Select the entire date, format it as date. These are just simple cleanup things you will experience. Format it, for me, short date is okay. No big deal. Then what else do I want to do? That's okay. Quantity, I want it aligned at the center. Price, I want it, it's okay, aligned to the right, that's okay. I just did some small arrangement so that my worksheet looks a bit more presentable, but that's not a big deal. Now, to format as a table is quite simple. The shortcut for format as a table is Control T.
Okay.
Control T. Now, if you don't want to do that, you go to your insert and then there's table there. So let's select the entire data, Control A, select everything. Okay. And I say, if you click on insert, you see the option table. Let's leave the shortcut for now. We'll use the shortcut when we start doing the pivot tables. Okay, so all right. Insert, can you see table?
Yes, sir.
Okay, click on table. Now, there's a dialog box that shows up. What did it say? Yes. It's a create table dialog box. Just only
yes. Where is the data? Where is the data for your table?
Now, you know we already selected the data before we opened this, right? If we did not select the data or we think our selection is wrong, we'll clear this where is the data and go and select the data. Now we already selected the data. Now the second option there is just our table has header. Does our table have headers? Does it have headers?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so that box must be checked. There's virtually no table. I don't, that does not have a header. That's
Header.
the columns will be meaningless. So that's why it's normally checked by default. So we click on OK and notice what just happened.
Oh, okay.
Now, Excel has automatically formatted our table and even giving us our filter buttons on top of it. So if you want to filter or sort, all you simply need to do is to click on any of the drop down, any column, you can filter or sort. That's one use of Excel table. Now, the other thing you notice is the formatting of the table.
Table.
You notice that Excel has automatically formatted the table without you having to click one row, one column. The entire table is formatted.
And it gave
That's not all.
And the
And
color.
what? The color, yes.
The color.
Now, the color is not it's not something that Excel insists on. Well, this is what I mean. You can simply go to table design. If you click on the table, you see table design on top of your screen, and you can see different colors.
Yes. Different colors.
Light,
Yes.
medium, dark, different themes, right? Now, when you put your mouse over any of the theme, you see what is called the preview. Like a live preview. It's telling you, if you select this option, this is how it will look like. And these dark themes are not very good for me. I don't like them. But the medium theme are okay. Then there's the light theme, which is also okay. Now, the only thing I don't like about the light theme is what it does to my title. If you use the medium theme, you notice that the title is very dark, right?
Yes.
But the medium, the light theme does not give, most of them don't have colored title, but it's not a problem. Huh? So I can choose a light theme that doesn't have the title, the colored, then I can come back, select only my title, and still fill it. You know the way we normally do our fill color?
It's color.
I can go and fill my, what they call it now? Any color I like.
Yes.
Because of the text, okay, I want to fill it with this dark color, and I can change the text. Okay, now that's it. Notice what I've done, right?
Yes, sir.
I've edited my header by myself. Even though the team gave me something different, I like the lower part of the team, but I don't like the upper part. But let me tell you, the sincere truth is I don't like this team. Yes, you see that my text are in red, background is in red. That will give me problem now. So I go back to my table design. Under my table styles, I choose another theme. I think I like this theme. You know why? My text is in black, right?
Yes.
And my rows are in light shade of blue and white. So it means that it's more legible for me, right? Yes. That's just the thing about changing table design. Now, something else that is very beautiful with table is what we call calculated column. Calculated column. Now, we have quantity, we have price per unit. If we want to check for if we multiply quantity and price per unit, what are we going to get for a product? That's the amount.
Okay. Amounts,
yes. Quantity sold and unit price. Add them together will be the amount, right? So
yes, sir.
Click on the space after unit price and put amount. Enter. If you notice what has happened, it immediately adds this column to the rest of the table. The fact that it's right by the table, it adds it to the table. You notice you don't have to format this extra column, right?
Yes,
Do you have it, a similar thing?
yes.
Okay, now do the calculation. Tell me what happens. It's equal to
Equal to
H by equals to, all right. I need you to tell me what happened. I'm waiting for you.
when I clicked on H, yes, multiply by give me it brought out it gave me the price and the where we have our zero, it gave me values.
Okay,
Just like
now you know we don't like that, right?
yes, sir.
So it's giving us the amount. We only wrote that formula. We didn't even now have to struggle to copy it down. You remember we used to double click to copy it down or drag it down, right?
Yeah,
But because we are
yes.
working in an Excel table, automatically Excel calculates it all the way to the bottom for us. Now, I don't like this hashtag value
Yes.
that Excel is telling me. And that is the places where the price is not available, right? Information
Yes.
is not available for those prices.
Available.
So go back to your formula bar and write an if error function. You remember our if error?
If error, yes, sir.
So after equal to, put your mouse there, write if error, the open brackets. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Let me know when you open your bracket.
My bracket is open. Value.
So what's if true?
Value, then value if true. If error.
Error. Okay, so value, which is what we'll get in the cell, right? If there's no
Yes,
problem. Comma.
there's no problem.
So if value, if error, what do we want to put if there's an error? Suggest what we should put there. If
not available.
not available, so zero
No,
does
zero.
not pass across a good message.
Okay. Change.
But you can put zero.
Because you said where we have numbers, it won't be nice to like numbers and
Put a
text.
text. For your
Yes.
calculations later, this will give you a problem. So we can put zero because,
Okay.
like I actually noticed now, quantity for that column is zero. So I'm sure that's why there's no price for it. You know, the places where quantity are zero, that's where they have this no information for price, or quantity is zero. Maybe, let me say, an item they did not buy on this list or not for sale on this list. So we can just put zero. Now, if you are putting zero, since it's a number, you can simply type it. You don't need to put it inside inverted commas. Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, enter. You see what you've done, right?
Yes, sir.
You've
Changed.
corrected
Yes.
all the errors. Now,
Errors.
let me tell you the interesting thing with my calculation. I didn't even do my calculation on my John Smith, which is the first person. Actually, click somewhere down the place where there was that error, the first place where there was error. But because it's a table, once I do the calculation, it refreshes the entire table. Normally in Excel, when you finish doing the calculation, you know you have to double click or drag it down.
Drag it down, yes, sir.
So Excel automatically does that. That's that for our table. And for our table, what else do I want to? Okay. Now let me show you something before we go to our last sheet we will cover today. If, like I was explaining to you, look at sheet 2.
Okay.
Sheet 2 is data that is similar to the data in sheet 1. Now, when it comes to data collection, you must have a specific template for collecting certain data. This is what I mean. If you are collecting sales data, you cannot, let's say January, collect your sheet is set up date, name, products, price, that's all. Then in February, you collect name, address, email, amount, sales rep. You create data that you cannot easily analyze. You know what I mean, right? When
Yes,
you set up your data collection system, it should have a very, I call it standard template, so that we know that these are all the data we are collecting, so that we can easily add January data to February data to March data. The one problem I see with people's data, somebody sent me some data to analyze. The newer data they collected had a lot of information about their clients, but the older data they had only just simply had name and when the person bought something. It didn't have what they bought, how much they bought, discount, who sold. It just had name. I think it had name and amount. Just this person just bought this amount. But the newer data had multiple information. So I told them, we can analyze this newer data. But if you want us to analyze data from 3, 4, 5 years ago, you don't have enough data for that. So now, select all the data in sheet 2 and copy. Done?
okay.
Copy
Select
all the data in sheet 2. When I mean all, please forgive me. Don't copy date the header. So this is what I will do to copy this. I'll click on the first date. Control-Shift-Right will select the top row. Control-Shift-Down will select everything to the bottom.
Done.
That's the fastest way to copy.
Wait.
Instead of dragging up and down, have you done that?
Yes, I've done that.
So Control-C will copy. Now I go to my creating table, which is my sheet 1. At the last point of that table, which is for me row 32, on the creating the table worksheet, row 32 is empty. That's it. My data ends at row 31.
Yes, sir.
Now Control V, drop the rest of the data. Tell me what happens.
It drops everything.
And then what else? It does more than drops everything. Huh? It does the calculation you did earlier.
Yes, it did the calculation.
It applied the same formatting. The formatting for all the data of these blue colors and everything, he applied it.
Yes. He applied
Even
it.
the one I centered, the quantity that I put in the center, he applied the formatting.
Even with the amount.
Yes. So if you click on the amount, for example, you see that the formula you did up has been copied down automatically without you having to tell Excel, please copy this thing down for me. Excel automatically copies everything down. Now let's go down. Let's do this again. My data has gone as far as row 162. Of course, to go down, control page down. Control page down takes me to the bottom. So I'm at the bottom. So I go to sheet 3. Let's say this data is for another month. Let's say March. I click on the first date, Control-Shift-Right, select the entire row, Control-Shift down, select the entire column, and then I copy it. I go to my sheet 1. Once I add the data, the same thing happens. So this means that you can easily combine data from multiple months without having to do the work over and over and over again. So this is some advantages of creating a table. But now the last thing I will teach before we leave here is, what if you want to remove this worksheet from a table? How do you reverse the process? You understand what I mean, right?
Yes, sir.
It's very simple. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, very simple. Click on the worksheet, you see your table design. When you click on table design, on the left, you see convert to range. It was from a range that we converted into a table. So convert to range. Are you there?
Wait, sir. Okay. Convert. Okay. We have to highlight the whole table.
Just click on the table. You don't have to. Excel knows where the table is.
Okay.
Convert to range. He will ask you a question, right?
Sorry, sir. Can you go back again?
Okay. I need to remove this Excel table and return it back to how it was before as a normal table range, as a normal data range.
Yes,
so
sir.
I click on the data, anywhere inside the data, my table design, a context menu shows up, and then there is convert to range on the left.
Yes, I've seen it.
Convert to range. Do you want to convert this table to a normal range?
Normal range, yes, sir.
I say yes. Everything has disappeared. So it's now a range. But this is, I have a challenge with Excel on this. When you convert a table back to a range, your formatting does not go back, right?
Yes.
So what if I don't want all of this formatting? It's very simple. I click on my first date, Control-Shift-Right, select the entire. I don't want to format the header. If I wanted to format the header, I could Control-A and clear formatting, or do what I want to do. So I click on the first date, Control-Shift-Right selects everything on the top row, Control-Shift-Down selects everything in the entire worksheet, which is up to 326 now. And I go to my field, and I say no field. Notice that all my colors have disappeared.
Gone.
Yes, because I said no field. I can
No
leave
field.
the field, it's not a problem, but if I want it to look like it was before, I just say no field. And all my fields are gone. But there's still something here that I may also want to remove. The borders.
Okay.
I say no border. And I can as well do no field. Because whether you, I don't know if you notice that I still have a tiny blue line on the border, even though I did no field. So I can say no border, I can say no field. Very simple. Control-Shift-Right, Control-Shift-Down, I select my entire data and I can change that. So this is converting a data range to a table, and this is converting it back to a range. And I'm moving on to pivot table 1. If I can cover this, I'll allow you play with pivot table 2.
Okay.
Yes. So pivot table 1. Yes. Okay. All right. I'm sharing my. Okay. I have some things that, okay, this, my page 1 usually touches on things I would like to cover in pivot table. A couple of stuff, but now, pivot table is, for me, one of the most dynamic analysis tool in Excel. And the first time I heard about it, the person spoke about it as if it was something out of this world. But like I've explained to everybody I've taught, pivot table is so easy, yet so powerful. That's the interesting thing. So easy, yet so powerful. It can take this large chunk of data, not this kind of small data set we are working on, and summarize it for you. It actually summarizes data, and it summarizes with so much ease that things you need to write 2, 3 functions to bring out. You know, those are count if, sum if, average if functions you need to write. Pivot table can bring them out for you. And then the good thing is, it can bring them out multiple times. You can take the same data set and use pivot table to analyze it in 5 different ways, 10 different ways, in as many ways as makes sense and as is reasonable to analyze. Now, the data you extract from the pivot table most times depends on how much you have interacted with pivot charts and tables, and what exactly you want to get out of the data. So we are just going to go ahead and create a pivot table and do some analysis. Page 2, read up page 2. Very simple. Field must contain, first field must contain names, record must be individual transaction must be along the rows. Each transaction must be along the row. No blank cells. Remember I told you about blank cells earlier, right?
Blank cells, yes. Yes, sir.
Pivot table doesn't do well when you have blank cells or blank rows. Now, data must be selected, must be surrounded by blank columns and rows. Now, the reason for that is when you are converting your data to a table, you know, I told you earlier, you don't want, when you try to convert, if you is surrounded by data all around, Excel may copy all of them into the table, and you don't want that to happen. So keep your data clean. Make sure that, oh, it's not touching another data. You know, I tried to select, and it selected my comments. So I have this simple table here. It has 221 rows of data. Now, this data has been cleaned and organized. I'm sure you've seen this data before, right?
Yes, sir.
All the data we use for cleaning. But if you see the way it looks, it's been cleaned and organized very neatly. So we can easily use this for our pivot table. Now, that's the essence of what we've learned yesterday and today, data cleaning. To bring your data to a point where is this clean, is this organized, formatted, so you can easily create a pivot table out of the data. So first of all, convert this to a table. Now, I'll allow you to use the shortcut. You know how to convert to a table. Insert table. But I don't do that.
Yes.
Control T. T for table, right?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Control T, you don't go through that long process. I simply say, okay. So your data has been converted to a table, right? Do you have a table now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now there is
Yes, I do.
summarize with pivot table on our table design. But if you don't use that shortcut, you can click on insert, which is actually what I like to do very often. And then you see insert pivot table. Both of them take you to the same place. Do you have our dialog box? Either you click on summarize with pivot table, or you click on insert and you click on pivot table.
So I should just, okay, I've clicked on summarize table.
Summarize with pivot table.
Yeah, summarize pivot table. Summarize with pivot table.
Yes. Right?
Yes, it's showing, yes, sir. Select it.
You have a
There's
dialog
table.
box, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, select a table or range. Table range, table 2.
One.
Well, Excel has named that thing as table 2 here.
Table.
Okay,
Okay,
we know the range we have selected. That's the correct range. Now, this option, the second option is asking us. What's the second option is asking us? There's this option. Use
an external data source.
No, that's not. No, just leave table. Table 2 is okay as that. Choose where you want. Are you on the dialog box?
Yes, sir. Choose where you want the pivot table
to be placed.
Choose where you want the pivot table reports to be placed.
Okay, so what are 2 options you have?
New worksheet or an existing worksheet.
Okay, now for me, I just never use existing worksheet. Sometimes if you click existing worksheet, you may want to put it in this page or in another page. I like to create my pivot table in a new worksheet because I'm not short of worksheet. It's not as if my pages are finished, right? And when you create a pivot table and you want to start analyzing, you want to have all the space to yourself to do your analysis, like you will see very soon. Then the last option says, add data. Add this data to the data model. No. You have the data on the page, you have your analysis on another page because your analysis will bring out more data. So you don't want everything modeled up together. So I just leave it by default, new sheet. I say, okay, we've just created our first pivot table. But we can't see anything, right?
Yeah.
It's giving you a new page.
Yes.
Okay, I need you to look on the right of that page and see pivot chart fields. Tell me what you notice under there. What are the things under there? What do they remind you of? Date, region?
They remind me of dates, region, yes. Our data, our field.
The field, the columns.
Sales rep.
all the
columns,
column
customer,
headers.
all the column headers.
Yes, now those are what you will use for analysis. Then just beyond that, you have what is called the fields.
Yes.
Filter, column, row, and values. Now that is where you drag each of your columns into to analyze. Now, before we start analyzing, let me just make it clear. There's no rules to how you arrange your pivot tables. There's really no big rule. But one rule that everybody follows is your values usually take your numbers, which is often your main number. For example, in this our worksheet, if we look at our data, the main value is our sales, right?
Yes.
So, or cost of goods sold, those are values. Two of them are values, but the main value here is our sales. There's cost of goods sold. So, anything value like this goes into the value field. You don't put product in the value field. You don't put sales rep in the value field because value field is for values, it's for calculations. You are going to see that when we start. So I go, and then every other item can go in your row or column or your filter. You know what a filter does, right? It helps you to sort and select. I want to see this, I don't want to see it. That's filter. We'll get to filter soon. So let's start by dropping our sales into the value field. Just drop sales into the value field. Tell me what shows up on your screen.
Sales to the value field.
When I mean drop, you click on sales, you drag it down, drop it there.
Yes. Yes. It has.
So,
Yes. That's giving us out.
I just open my place with command so that I can see the value. What's the total sale?
Total sales is
Open with your comma.
yes, I've opened my comma now. 29,935,489.47.
You got that figure without doing, now any other thing, right?
Yes,
not writing the sum function. By just dropping it in the values field, Excel has summarized it for you. Now, I'll come back to value field setting later. Now, on your rows column, drag your product to your rows column. See what it's giving you. Like I said, apart from all the values go to value field, there's really no rule onto where you put what. But when you start to do pivot tables, or when you are doing a pivot table, and you drop something in the rows column, when you see the shape of the table, it will tell you whether it makes sense or not. You can decide, okay, this does not make sense in the rows. I want to put it in the column. Yes.
Mine is it took the shape of a transpose.
Did you put it in rows or you put it in column? Check.
Oh, I placed it in column.
Now, what you just did is what I was explaining. Did it look good when it was in that along the column?
No, it didn't.
It looked too wide. Why should I have? Yes. Now, those are some little tricks you get to learn the more you do your tables. Once you have the data you are sorting, very many, please put it on rows so that it's from up, it's coming down. If there are 3, 4 rows of data, or even 5, put it along columns. It just helps you sort up and down. Now, we've already dropped some of sales in our values, and then we now drop our products in the rows. We can as well drop, say, sales rep in our column. Can you see what we have done?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me explain what we have done. Let me title this table we just created. Let me title it. Let me title it so that you understand what we're. Sum of sales by region and by sales rep. I'm going to highlight this. Now, see what I'm doing though. I'm going to highlight that, merge and center, and then I'm going to fill it with a dark shade. I'm going to make the text white, and I'm going to increase the font size to 14, and I'm making it bold.
Bold.
Can you see my table that I just created?
Yes, sir.
So let's try and do a small dive into the content of this table.
Okay.
I have my products. Sum of sales by region, sorry, not by region, by product, sorry. Let me correct that. It's not by region, it's by product and by sales rep. What this small table is telling us quickly is this, each of the products, how much of each of the products was sold by each sales rep. So, for example, if you take Hubert Simon, for example, in chargers, Hubert Simon sold how much chargers? 179,940 something chargers. Jill Mark sold 400 and something. Now, each person, you can tell by just this summary, what did each person sell in each product, without having to go write sum if product is charger. This does your sum if for you. Now, it doesn't only do sum, it can do other things, and that's what we call value feed setting. Now, go back to our values. If I don't want to see, okay, let me just take it. What if I don't want to see this elaborate information? Now, this is too plenty for me now. I just want to see what each sales rep sold. I click on product, the product disappears. What I now have is only sales rep, but I don't like the way it's looking long. So I move my sales rep from columns, I move them back into my row. And I think I prefer this. Now, I need you to understand, this is no longer sum of sales by product and by sales rep. I hope you know I've changed my table, right? This table is now sum of sales by sales reps. You notice I've changed the title of my table, right?
Yes, sir.
Because I've removed the what they call it now.
You removed the product.
The product. So this is just sales rep and their sum. Notice that our total sale is still the same figure, which was the first figure we got, right? But it has broken it up to what each person sold. Now, I want to skip forward. I'll come back again. I can select this table without the grand total. I need to notice that I did not select the grand total. I can select this table and go to insert, and under recommended chart, I say insert a bar. Yeah, this is a bar chart. Yeah, this is what we call the bar chart. I just created a chart. Now, what this chart makes it does for us is easy visualization. Who is the person who sold the highest quantity of things in this organization?
Both John Smith and Mark Jones.
John Smith, they are quite close, right?
Yes.
Okay, now they are quite close. I'm not very sure who. I taught you about as these chart elements. Now, because I'm not very sure who is, I go and add my data label. So with my data label, I can now see who is who. Yes. So, who has the highest sales now? They are quite close.
Yes.
Mark Jones, right? So I just added my data label so that it's obvious that if I actually stretch this chart, fine, it will be more obvious on who sold. Now, who has the lowest sales?
Hubert Simmons.
And like Robert Simmons, if you don't sell this next month, there's fire on your company. You know the way they give targets, right? So we have summarized the sales by what they call it now, by sales rep, and we just created a chart. No, but let me teach you something there before we do another pivot chart. Based on this same set of data, we can keep doing more pivot chart, then we can keep doing more pivot tables and more pivot chart. When you combine those charts together, it's what we actually call a dashboard, which is something we cannot get to do. Yes. And they said dashboard is a combination of multiple charts. It can be from one data set, it can be from multiple data sets. When you do each of these charts and you arrange them together, it's simple. That's what a dashboard is. Okay, you know that total we got at the beginning. I didn't hear you.
I said I've heard of dashboard. A friend of mine will say, then you now have a dashboard.
Dashboard is a very beautiful thing. It's something, it's a course of its own. It's like, because it's advanced Excel, but it's a standalone course. Excel visualization, dashboard creation is something I teach as well. So, but what I just explained, a dashboard is a combination of these multiple charts formatted properly, and then you can put some, you know, this filter we are using here, right? You now put filter, you put something that we call slicer, you combine them together. So when you change something, the dashboard just updates itself. It can be very beautiful. It's very beautiful. That's, for me, the tail end of data visualization, really. So, but what I wanted to show you was, go to the sum of sales, which is in our values column. You can see a drop down there, right?
Yes.
Click on the drop down.
Okay.
At the bottom, there's something called value field settings.
Settings, yes.
Okay, click on it. Tell me what you see.
At our dialog box, custom name, sum of sales, and
now that custom name, sum of sales, Excel is giving it by itself. Our column is actually sales, but Excel is calling it sum of sales because Excel is summing the sales. So I don't want to call it sum of sales. I just want to call it sales or total sales. Now, anything I want to put there, let me put total sales, or let me just put sales. I can put anything I like, but that's not even where I actually want to take you to. Where the place I want to take you to is under summarize value feedback. There's sum, there's count, there's average, there's mass, mean, and then there's product, count numbers. Then I don't even want to worry about standard deviation and the rest of them. It's not part of the things I want to bother my head about. So instead of using sum of sales, let's do counts.
Okay.
And click OK. Look at what has happened to our entire pivot chart and pivot table. What do you see now?
Okay.
Can you notice that John Smith actually sold more products?
Yes.
Do you notice?
Yes, I did.
He had more transactions. Just that Mark Jones seemed to have sold some heavy things.
Things with
easily
prices,
from your pivot table. Easily. Mark Jones, okay, he didn't sell too many. He sold 53 items. Yes. But he seemed to be selling heavy items. Look at Paul Smith. Paul Smith sold 52. Very close to Mark Jones, but somehow his value of money is not as high as Mark Jones. That means maybe he was selling to all the small people or small items. So, but for John Smith, he was not only selling many things, he was also selling things that were high price. That's why his total is high. But for Hubert Simmons, he has the lowest number of sales items. He also has the lowest number of sales. Now, we got that information by changing the value field setting. Now, if you now look at values, what can you see there? Now, what's written there now?
Count of sales.
count of sales. So that's that. So we can change value feed setting and say, okay, give me average. Now see average sales. Interestingly, the average sale is, okay, different. Mark Jones still had the highest average sale. Of course, the other people are trying. As our pivot table is changing, our pivot chart is changing. What of max and mean? Value feed setting, I say max. Okay. See, these are the maximum sales by each of these people. What is not working there? When I hear bomb, I know something is not working.
Nothing is new.
Okay, you just enter. Ah, madam, you're just joining class now.
I did not just join a few minutes ago, though.
A few minutes. You should let me know when you join now. You're sneaking into class. Okay, now we are doing pivot tables. Huh? So I have got almost covered a full stretch, but I will go back and cover another section. Before we start doing pivot tables, we must convert our pivot, our range into a table, which is what we have done here. Now, once we convert it to a table, we can insert a pivot table and start to analyze. Now, Eden.
Yes, sir.
I can continue to analyze again and again on that single page. But what you notice is that every time I do an analysis, the old analysis disappear, right? And the new analysis show up. What if I want to see each of these different analyses? You know what I mean, right? I want to see sum of sales. I want to see count. I want to see average. So I need to insert multiple pivot tables. That's what I need to do. So I want to insert another pivot table. So I go back to my pivot chart. So I go back to my data and I go to insert and I say pivot table. You know the same step now. Now it's asking me, do I want a new worksheet or existing worksheet? Like I told you, I like to do a new worksheet to save myself of stress. But what if I want to see two things on one page? I go to existing worksheets. When it asks me for location, I go to my sheet 3, which was the worksheet I have added earlier. I click in a blank space on worksheet 3 and I say, okay. So Excel just inserted a second pivot table on this page. Now, I want to do a different analysis on this pivot table. This one has to do with region and sales. Eden, are you with me? Do you have a second pivot table on the same page?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's go back to our first pivot table. Let's put proper information there. We want to do, let's change the value feed to sum of sales.
Okay, for the first
so
one.
Yes, for the first one. Sum of sales, and then let's add products. Ooh, my chart is crazy.
Honestly.
Okay, now, one of the things that is disturbing my chart, I want to remove some of the data labels. Go. I can as well remove the axis. No, if I remove the axis, you can't tell. I want to remove the legend. Okay, it's not as crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now what made it crazy was my data labels, really. So I've removed the data labels, but if I remove the legend, you won't know what we are talking about. This is crazy. I will likely not do a chart like this, but I'll leave it for the purpose of the class. But let me remove this. Let me remove products. It's crazy here. I don't like this. Let me remove products. It won't work. Let me remove products. Sorry. No products. Okay. Let me just leave only sum of sales for each sales rep. So my second pivot table, I want to do sum of sales by region. So I drag my sales into values. Now, something I've explained earlier is in the value field, if you notice, in the pivot chart fields, all my titles, all my column headers are represented here: date, region, sales, customer, and product. Now, in the value field, the appropriate, yes, that's what I was looking for. The appropriate information to put in the value field is something Excel can count or add up or multiply, which is numbers. So that's why you see something like sales coming to the value field. I cannot drop like product in the value field. It doesn't make sense because Excel cannot aggregate it. It can't add it up. It can't multiply it, and it can't count it. So some of sales now since I'm doing by region, in my rows I drop the regions. So I have the regions and I have the sales. So this is telling me how much was sold in each region. If you notice it, then the total is still the same thing.
Yes.
But this time, instead of splitting it among each sales rep, we are splitting it among the regions. Now, I can select this whole information again, just like we did earlier, and I want to insert a chart. This time, I want to insert a different chart. Let me look for pie charts. Okay, let me try pie chart or histogram. Where is column chart? Okay, let me do column chart. Column. This is okay. Or a pie chart, which of them? Let me do a pie chart. We haven't done a pie chart. So, okay. So this pie chart, I don't want this. I'm removing my chart legend. Okay, I want it like chart title. So this is my pie chart. And it's titled Sum of Sales. I've shown us how we can change that. So this is same pivot, same range of data, a second pivot table on the same page. I can keep doing this again, but I usually don't like to have multiple pivot tables on one page. I can arrange them. Now, Eden, I'm going to add a new worksheet. I'm going to add a new worksheet. And I'm going to come in to my sheet 3 where I have my table. Click on the first data, on the first chart, copy it, drop it on sheet 3.
Okay, I should create another worksheet.
Yes. Go to my second, copy it, and drop it on the new sheet. Notice that suddenly I have my 2 charts on one page, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is what I was telling you. I can have 4 or 5 charts on this page, different type of charts. I can say, for example, let me do something. Let me drag this tool down. What I'm doing right now is I'm creating what we call a dashboard. Let me do something here. What I'm doing to total sales, I just simply regular what we've been doing, typed into a cell called total sales, and I can now say, I just did merge for the total sales. I increase the font size to 20, and I make it bold. Then I also merge the cells. I increase the font size. And I can say equal to, I go to my sheet 3, where I have my total sales figure, and click on one of them and say, okay, what is showing up here? That's my total sales figure. And I can fill it and make the text white. Eden. Hello, Eden. Can you see?
I'm with you, sir.
Can you see my page?
Yes, sir.
I got here from, I'll go converting my range to a table and creating a pivot table. turning that pivot table to a chart, and then copying the chart to a page. Now, for this total sales figure, all I simply did was, my normal merge and center for total sales so that it's across 3 rows, 3 columns. And then to get this value for total sales, all I simply did was to press equal to and go click where I have the result on another sheet.
Those.
What kind of reference do we call that reference? Equals to, I click.
I'm listening.
What kind of reference do we call that kind of reference?
Absolute
Equals
reference.
to, nope. Direct reference.
Oh, direct.
I simply
Absolute.
said equal to a page, equal to a cell in a page. So that's direct reference. So it gives me the value of the total. Now, if I do this kind of thing and rearrange it all over, it's what we call an Excel dashboard. It's 9 o'clock, but if I have questions, I will take it. If not, I'll just discuss a couple of things, and then we can call this class, we can call it a day. Do we have questions?
Yes, actually, a lot.
Okay. A lot.
But I'll just I'll go through the video when we're done.
Send me all the questions and we can deal with it.
I will start you. Yes.
Trust me, if we need to do a small class and to deal with some of the questions, I'm open to it, right, Eden?
Yes, sir. I mean, I'm open to it also.
Go through the videos. I'm sure you are going to meet some things that, let me say, for example, some things I explained to you, but it just seems not to be working the way I explained it. Some you can use ChatGPT. You know, I mentioned that many times, right? Some you may have to use YouTube to check.
Yes.
When I say that, I'm not joking. ChatGPT or YouTube, we might need to use it to check some of the challenges. But if it goes beyond that, you can talk to me and we can sort it out. Now, the last few words I want to leave with us and before I end the class is the same thing I mentioned at the beginning of the class. AI is here to stay, right? The earlier we start incorporating AI in our operations, the faster, the better for us. It's like when the internet came, some people would have said, I don't want to use the internet. Somebody said ChatGPT is made by some kind people, so he will not use it. You know, that's how people always talk about any new thing that comes, they will say it's something. I was very young when cars moved from carburetor to injector, right? People say injector was no good. I was also very young when cars moved from manual to automatic. People used to buy a car and go change the manual gear the automatic gear back to manual because they say, no, we don't like this the automatic. Of course, that's the same thing people are doing with AI, but I'll tell you in summary, get used to using AI. Now, the commonest is ChatGPT, but there are so many AIs doing so many things. And if you are in this data analysis space, please get friendly with AI. Even if you are starting with just ChatGPT, the free version, it will help you a lot. But there is a whole lot of other AIs, many of them free, or many of them have a free version, or many of them have free alternative. Get yourself some AI. Now, before I let you go, I just wanted to talk about printing. Before I let you guys go. Yes, Eden, you said, Why did you say,
I was waiting for, because I had a challenge with printing.
Tell me the challenge.
Maneuvered, but
okay. What
when
was
we
the
finally
problem?
printed
Yes, tell me what was the problem.
Let's finally printed the data. The data was plain. The data was much. So I maneuvered, did what I could with my colleague, and at the end of it was still too small. It was even too tiny to read.
Okay.
And
what page size were you printing on? What was the page size you were printing? What kind of size of paper were you printing on?
A4.
A4. Okay, now let me say this for Excel. Once your columns extend beyond 10 columns, and if the columns are wide, it's usually difficult to print it on A4, a single A4 page. You can set it up in such a way that you print on A3 instead of A4.
Okay.
Which is helpful. But beyond A3 and A4, I want to also ask a question. Were you printing portrait or landscape?
I did landscape.
You did landscape, which is already helping you so that it can go into landscape allows you to have more columns,
yes.
right? Which
Yes,
can go into another page. Okay, so let me just point out a few things to us in printing, which is actually our printing tool. We'll close the class here. I'm already a few minutes after, but we'll close the class here. In your case, if your data is large, you will likely run into that challenge of printing. That's why, you remember I told you that when you are creating columns in Excel, you don't create unnecessary columns. You remember that, right? If
yes, sir.
you can get to point C without creating column B, don't need to create column B. Bring the C into B, it reduces your number of columns. All of that have to do with printing. Now, something else that I don't think I mentioned to us, in my page setup, my page layouts, my margins, I always use narrow margins.
Okay.
That's one. Most people leave it normal. Normal is too much into your page. I use narrow margin. If it becomes more difficult, I can use custom margin, where I almost eliminate the margin. I just allow enough for the printer to grab the paper and print it. Actually, sometimes stress the printer to print into the page. But normally, I use narrow margin. With narrow margin, which is one of the settings of the computer, the printer can print your document. So that's one I need to mention, narrow margins. Then two, I mentioned to us last time, hello, I never print from Excel. Eden, you remember that, right?
Yes,
Did
sir.
you send to PDF before you printed?
No, I didn't.
I never print from Excel. I taught us last time. You know why I said I would do printing again? I knew when I taught printing, that was in the free class. I knew I rushed it. So for this advanced class, I told myself I was going to give you guys that extra. I never print from Excel. If you remember in the first printing class, we said when you have finished your setting, you click on File, you do Save As, and then you save as PDF.
Yes.
What that does for you is, once you save a document to PDF, it does not change. You actually see the way it will look like when you print. Whether you are now printing in A3 or A4, I never print from Excel. It's a recipe for disaster, because when you print from Excel, it usually will cut some things will go to page 3, some will be in page 5. So I never print from Excel. When I save as PDF, I view my document page after page, the way it will look like when I print. So if there's any error, I've not printed, I've not wasted ink, I've not wasted paper. If there's any error, I just simply close that PDF, delete it, and resend it. Sometimes I don't even delete it. I just close it, I readjust my page and send again. I save as again, I save as the same file name. So you ask me, do you want to override that previous one? I say yes, save, override it. That's for me. Now, what else do you've talked about orientation. After margin, I say I usually print narrow margin. Orientation, portrait landscape, that's clear. Size, of course, A4 is our default. Most printers are A4, but if your document is very large, please change the size to A3.
A3,
You know,
okay.
obviously, you have more space to play with A3. A3 is 2 A4. If you do any document that is bigger than A3, then you are looking for trouble. You know what I mean, right?
Yes.
If you do any document, but it happens, you might have to go print A1. Maybe there's some data set that needs to be out of the world. But it's your responsibility as a data analyst to be able to compress your data. Don't put in unnecessary information. If you need to hide some columns, you remember what we said, hide column, right?
Yes, sir.
The columns are necessary for your analysis, but they are not necessary for what you want to print. I'll give you an example. Your data set may have people's email address. But if you want to print the data set and put on the wall, nobody wants to come there and be taking out their email address. And you know, email address used to occupy a lot of space. Hide that column. Print the document. You know, when you hide that column, it reduces your trouble, right? Print the document minus the email address document line column, so that you manage the space. What else? Print area. Now, print area usually is when I am doing my print setting, first thing I do is to clear my print area. If he then sends me a document, any print setting he has done in that document comes with the document in Excel. So if I just send to print, all the setting he did, it means I'm printing with the setting. But first, if I want to do my print setting, I don't want anything he has said to disturb me, or anything anybody has said, or what I said before. I like to clear my print area. Then if I want to, I can select part of the document and set it as my print area, or just do the setting. Now, breaks. I hope you are looking on your print preview or your print on your page layout. Page break.
Yes.
Now, by default, Excel would, when you choose your size of page, Excel will do your page break for you. But sometimes you want to put your page break in the place you want your page break. Let me tell you an example. Look at this, my chart, this page I'm using. My page break is appearing at row 40. And I have the rest of the data. Another page break is at row, let me see, 80, where is it? Row 80. Possibly, what if I want only 30 set of data on each page? That's my choice, right? I'll go to my row 30, click on it, and insert a page break. Suddenly, my page is breaking at row 30. That's with page break. It's your call. But most times, Excel will give you its default page break, and most times it will work. Now, something that is important, two more things that are important that I teach you. Print titles. Let me show us a print preview of this document. Let's see. Can you see my print preview? My document is stopping at row 30 because I put page break there. But my document is not complete. There are more columns that are missing. So I'm going to escape. I'm going to, first of all, go back and change my orientation. Just changing it to landscape. I'll do my print preview again. Now I have my whole document, right?
Yes.
And I said, it tells me I have 10 pages. I can just scroll through. But notice something that is happening to everything after my page. Okay, now look at this problem, for example. My page 2 only has 3 items. Do you know why this happened? Because I inserted a page break at 30 by myself. Excel already knew where to break, but I told Excel you must break at this point. Now you do that because you want to. But let me tell you what is happening to this other page. Can you see the title of each of these pages? Can you see the titles of each column?
Yes.
Can you see the title, date, name, region? Can you see it on top of my? Now it's not visible on any of the pages. And it's not very good for you to print a document like this. Most people do it. In the early days before I learned some things in Excel, I used to copy title from one page to another page. Now, first of all, let me clear my page break that I inserted. On my breaks, I go to reset all page breaks. I just reset all the page breaks. So the one I added, it has been removed. The cell is putting page break by itself. So when I press my print preview again, this is my page 1. Notice that my page 2 is now okay. Eden, are you following me? Zainab, are you following me?
Yes.
Okay, now, having done my page layouts, I want to add my title so that every page carries the title. So that if you take my page 1, it has the title, but if you go to page 4, it doesn't have the title. How do you want to be reading it? You'll be going back to page 1 and page 4. No. So there is this option of print titles. When I click on it, it will ask me a question. Where is the area I want to print? Print area. That's the very important thing for me. Print area. Where is the titles that I want to print? So I go into my worksheet and I select my titles. And I say, okay, I can actually from here go to my print preview. That's the title, sorry. What is print titles? Nope, that's not what I want. Rows to repeat at the top. Sorry, that's what I wanted. Rows to repeat at the top. That's my row 1. Row with the headers. Date, region, sales rep, customer, product, cost of goods sold, and sales. Those are the rows I want to repeat at the top. So I do my print preview. This is my page 1. You see I have my titles on top, right?
Yes.
Watch my page 2. Do I still have my titles?
Yes, I do.
Page 3, 4, 5, all the way. So when I print this document, all my titles show up. That is print titles in Excel. It's very useful when you have a document that have multiple pages and you want the title to show up in all the pages. I will only show you one more thing, then we'll close this class. Scale. Eden.
Sir.
You talked about having challenge printing, right?
Yes,
Now,
I did.
when I have a document that is really too large, for example, too large for A4 or too large for A3, this scale is one way I shrink my document. Now, when you send a cell like this to print, it prints the document on 100% scale. So it means that your document comes out in its actual size. But when we have a challenge, when our document is not fitting into our page, it doesn't fit into A4, and I want to print it A4, or it doesn't fit into A3. I've taken A3 now, which is a bigger page, and it still doesn't fit in. We adjust the scale. You see the scale that is 100%. We adjust it. Notice what I've done. I've changed it to 50, 45, okay, let me say 50%. It means that the document I'm going to print, instead of being in its actual size, is going to come out half of its size. So what happens is that it makes it easier for it to fit in the page. I know what I've done is too much, but I want you to see what has happened to my document. Can you see my print preview?
Yes, sir.
Same document. Now, my document is now telling me 5 pages. What has happened is, because I have reduced the scale, if you notice, you know I reduced the scale to 50%, right? The document is filling just half of the page because I reduced the scale. Now, you use this method to shrink a document to print without adjusting the document itself on your page. So if all of these tests on my page, they are size 14, they're size whatever, and I want to print it, and I realize that it's too large for maybe A4 or too large for A3, I can reduce the scale. But let me tell you, I reduce the scale to 50, dramatic, so that you will see the effect. Normally, when I'm doing an Excel worksheet, I might just reduce it to something like 95 or 90. So let me show you my print preview again. I've changed the scale to 90. Can you see my document? It just slightly reduced because this is scale of, I reduced it to scale 90. If I reduce this scale to, let me reduce it to 30. Look at the print preview. The document will be tiny. Now, like I said, I will not normally print from Excel. Notice that my document suddenly now is 3 pages because I've shrunk it to a very small scale. I would normally not still print from Excel, even at this. I'll go to my, let me correct my scale to 90. I'll go to my file and I'll do save as. Save it in any location I want to save it. save it as PDF. Is that PDF that I sent to print? Eden. Okay,
Sir.
I've kind of gone through some of the things I know I did not go through in printing. So I've talked about margins. You already know orientation. And I talked about the size. We normally print A4, but you can change it to A3 if you have a large document. Print area. I like to clear my print area before doing my settings. But sometimes you want to print a selection. You can select it and you might have a lot of data in your page and you don't want to print everything. You can select where you want to print, set it as your print area. Now, if you do your print preview, let me do that for example. I just selected from the title all the way to row 10, and I go to my print area, I say set print area. Let me do my print preview now. Can you notice what's showing up on my screen?
Mm-hmm.
And it's only one page because I selected just this space and I set it as my print area. Also, the scale I set is also showing up. That's why the document is a bit strong. So that's for print area. But I like to clear my print area before I start doing my print setting. Now, background, skip background. Nobody prints background normally. Then print titles. I told us how to print titles. Rows to repeat at the top is the only setting you need to change when it comes to print title. Click inside that box and select the title, the row with the title, and click OK. Excel will repeat the title in each page. Then what else? Scale. If your document is too wide, hey, please reduce the scale so that what will not fit into A4 before will fit into A4, but don't over reduce it or else it will shrink your text and the text cannot be read. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure we come to the end of our lecture. We're taking some extra time. And like I said, please, what you owe me is practice. Right, everybody? I still practice Excel. What you owe me is practice, 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 practice. And this is what I say to my students. If you don't come back to me to say I have a problem with table range or I have a problem with pivot table or my E function is not working, it's one conclusion: you are not practicing. If you practice, you will face one thing or another. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording now so that we can officially close the class. Where is that? Okay, so that is, where is, okay. All right, so thank you all very much for being part of the class. We're going to stop here. Let me stop recording so that we can just have our final conversations and go. Yes, stop recording.